So I hope you're doing well, and it's great to see you back here once again. If it's your first time here, I create content on filmmaking, product videos, behind the scenes, photography, and gear review. And if that's something you think you'll be into, hit that subscribe button to be in the know of future videos. So today I want to talk about an external field monitor. This one, the C50 and the E50 series by a company called Fotga. This is not a sponsored video, but Fotga did send me these to try them out and to give them my unaltered thoughts. I recently reviewed one of their ND filters and I compared them to the Peter McKinnon variable ND filters version 2. If you'd like to check that video out, I'll leave it up here so you can test and compare and see if a cheap ND filter can stack up to the Peter McKinnon super expensive ND filter. These are brand new external monitors by Fotga. There are 4 of them. There's the C50, the C50S, the E50, and the E50S. The main difference between the C50 and the C50S is that the C50S has an SDI input. The same thing happens with the E50 and the E50S. The E50S has an SDI input on top of the HDMI input. And now the main difference between the C50 series and the E50 series is its brightness level. The C50 is measured at 2000 nits of brightness, and the E50 series 2500 nits, which is very, very bright. And this is where I think this monitor really excels in its brightness level, especially if you want to be shooting outdoors and you need a monitor bright enough to be able to see what you're shooting. So let's first unbox this and see what comes in the box. So inside the box, we have some instructions. We have the monitor itself. We have a sun hood, which is really helpful. You can use this when you're shooting outside in bright sun. We have an HDMI cable, and on the S versions, we have an SDI cable. We have the cold shoe mount, an extra cold shoe adapter, and an extra 3/8 to 1/4 inch adapter as well. So it almost comes with all of the accessories you need to get you started. The only thing is that HDMI to micro HDMI cable that I wish they had included, because a lot of modern mirrorless cameras take the micro HDMI cable, not the regular HDMI cable, but that's just a minor thing and it's not a deal breaker. Let's talk about the overall build quality and construction of this monitor. So it's pretty lightweight at about 270 grams. So if you're a run and gun person and wanted to use this on your run and gun rig, this won't add too much weight to your rig, which is a good thing. This monitor is made up of a combination of hybrid metal and some engineering plastic. It has shortcut buttons at the top, which I find a little flimsy, but they do the job. This is also a touch screen and you can zoom in and out, which I'll show you later on. Fotga also says that it's scratch resistant, so I guess that's a good thing as well. These 2 monitors have built-in fans, and this is more obvious on the E50 monitor. These fans do make a little bit of noise, but the fan didn't really make too much noise to interfere a lot in my audio from the times that I've been using it. Fotga also says that there's no standby battery consumption on this monitor, and it uses double MPF batteries, and you can also get the MPF to LP adapter if you have those batteries lying around. One good thing about this is that you do not need both batteries to be on at the same time for you to power it on. So that means that if one of your batteries dies, you can leave one on and keep using the monitor while you go and replace that other battery. It also has a DC input if you want to power this externally. It has also a headphone jack, which comes very handy to monitor your audio. You get also your HDMI in and your HDMI out, as well as your SDI in and out. So the rest of the monitor seems very firmly built. I also like that they have threads throughout the monitor, not only at the bottom, but also on the sides, for 3 8" and 1/4 inch screw mounts, which is a plus. This monitor has a lot of features that many of the pro level external monitors have. So in this monitor, you're able to see your vector scopes, your waveforms, your RGB parades. You also get to set focus peaking. You also get to set your zebras, or is it zebras? Let me know in the comments below whether you think it's zebras or zebras. You also get a audio bar to monitor your audio, which is pretty handy as well. You also even have the ability to load your own LUT onto this monitor, and that's why there's a USB input here so you can download your custom LUT and load it onto the monitor. And this is very useful if you're filming in a flat picture profile or in a log picture profile and you want to not just be seeing that gray or that desaturated image the entire time. You can just turn on that 3D LUT and have a nicer recording experience. It also has a default LUT already installed on this, which is very handy. Another useful thing on this monitor is also the grid lines and the ability to set different aspect ratios. So for example, if you wanted to shoot anamorphic, you can set that on the monitor, and that way you're able to better frame your shot. So the biggest thing about these monitors, in my opinion, is how bright the screen can get. In between the C50 and the E50s, you can tell from here that the brightness is about the same, but compared to my iPhone 11's brightness, these monitors are way brighter than that. An iPhone 11 screen is about 625 nits at its maximum brightness, and these monitors are at 2500 and 2000 respectively. So that means that if you're out shooting on a sunny day, you'll be able to monitor whatever you're shooting, no problem. So I wasn't able to test the brightness of these monitors outside because it's been cold and it hasn't been sunny over here. It's about minus 15 degrees Celsius and no sun. I haven't tested how long the battery lasts at its max output, so I would keep that in mind if you're shooting out in a hot sunny day with your screen at its maximum brightness. And another thing that I also like is that you can daisy chain these monitors. That means that you can send the feed from one monitor HDMI out to the HDMI in of the second monitor. Fotga says that you're able to monitor different parameters on different monitors, but I haven't yet tested that, but it's good to know that you can do that. So now let's go over the monitor's interface and the different on-screen buttons. If you have this monitor or if you're thinking about it, this section is very important because the instruction manual doesn't really tell you how to get these functions to come up on your monitor, so make sure you watch the next part. Before I show you the interface, one thing I do want to mention is that this monitor gets really hot. I was filming with this monitor on for about an hour, and afterwards the screen got really hot. But it was not hot to the point that you couldn't touch it or you couldn't adjust the settings on the touchscreen monitor, but just something to keep in mind. At the top you have a few options where you can set up the short keys or shortcuts. So this one is set up to RGB parade. You can toggle that to move on and use different types of parades. Turn it off. The second one right now has been set up to vector scopes. You can turn that on and off. The third one to the histogram. And this is the 3D LUT function. As you can see, this is the preloaded LUT that comes with the monitor. And then the next two buttons here are to control the backlight, just the brightness of the screen. The next button here brings up more options and more parameters for you to monitor. You can double tap on the screen, and this is how you bring up those settings. So right away you get to monitor your battery. You are also able to see which firmware you're in. One thing that I don't like though is that you can't tell which battery is the one that you need to replace. This just tells you the overall battery level. So this is display. You can select different things such as safety markers, center markers, grid lines. And this is a cool thing that I found, the anamorphic mode. So you can set different settings. And if I go back here, you can see that it's been cropped to the anamorphic setting that you have selected. That just makes it easier for you to frame up your shot. Get to turn on this zoom function so you can drag on your screen and zoom if you wanted to monitor focus, for example. I won't be going over all of these settings, but this is just to give you an idea of what you have available with this monitor. Under function, you get to turn on all the different fun stuff. False color. You get to also turn on your focus peaking, your zebras, and you can even set your zebra values, which is a cool thing. This is where you set up the short keys. You can select whichever function you want to be mapped to these short keys. This is the LUT section where you can import your LUT and select which LUT you want to use. And the basics, this is just information on the color temperature and the contrast saturation of the actual screen itself. Also, if you slide from the top of the screen, right here, you can quickly access other functions as well. Right away, you can see as well that you can also change the functions that you want to map to your short keys directly from here. And at the bottom here, you can quickly go ahead and turn on and off or toggle different functions. All of this stuff is located also in the other monitors and menu systems that you saw on the side earlier, but this is just a quicker way to access them. Should you get this monitor? I think it's worth getting the E50 version if you want something that is very bright. Unless you really need the SDI input, I would just get the HDMI version, the E50. And if you wanted to save a little bit more, you could probably just get the C50 as well. So overall, I really enjoy using this monitor. I think that it's very lightweight, and at 5 inches, the screen size was good for me. I like that this monitor had physical buttons where you can set up shortcuts, and also that it's completely touchscreen. Overall, I think this is a great buy if you're looking for an external field monitor that has to be very bright. So if you enjoyed today's video and you found it informative, please hit that like button and subscribe if you haven't already. And that is all. I'll see you next time.